Ever notice how some people can hurt you, look you straight in the eye, and walk away as if nothing happened, like they just returned a library book? No twitch, no stammer, no apology. Just nothing. That's the narcissist's superpower, or, depending on how you look at it, their curse. They don't feel guilt. They don't feel empathy. And that's no accident. They didn't forget to care. They chose not to. Guilt is a mirror. It forces you to look at yourself and admit, I was wrong. Empathy is the bridge. It connects you to another person's pain. Narcissists shatter the mirror, burn the bridge, and act surprised when you're bleeding from the broken glass and smoke. The dangerous part, you start thinking you can teach them. You think, if I just explain myself, they'll get it. But they already do. They just don't care. And when you keep trying to reach someone whose heart is locked away, you're not saving them, you're freezing yourself. So, if you want to survive this, you need to understand how it works. You need to stop expecting something from them. Let's face the most brutal truth head-on. First, the heart of stone syndrome. Imagine trying to hug a statue. It doesn't hug you back. It doesn't feel your warmth. That's the narcissist's emotional core, cold, unyielding, lifeless. Pick your metaphor, the result is the same. This isn't about a tough childhood or guarded emotions. Plenty of people go through hell and still hold on to their humanity. No, this is a conscious choice. At some point, they decided emotions were liabilities. Compassion, weakness, remorse, a waste of energy. So they locked it all away. And once that heart turns to stone, something eerie happens. Pain doesn't register. Yours, theirs, it's all the same empty screen. You cry. They watch. You plead. They smirk. You hurt. They calculate. The Bible says, I will remove the heart of stone and give you a heart of flesh. But narcissists, they're doing the opposite. If they ever had flesh, they've spent years chiseling it away. And here's the trap. Because you have a soft heart, you think there's a way to reach theirs. But all you're doing is wearing yourself down against something unmovable. This is why they can betray you without blinking. Why they can watch you break and feel nothing. It's not that they're missing the empathy chip, they ripped it out and sold it long ago. Once you accept that, you stop trying to melt the ice and start running from the cold. Secondly, the broken mirror effect. Empathy starts with self-awareness. You screw up, you feel that sting, you think, man, I was wrong. I hurt someone. That moment, that reflection, is what makes you human. A narcissist, they've smashed that mirror to dust. There's nothing to reflect back. No image. No flaw. No moment where reality slaps them in the face and says, look what you've done. Why? Because guilt is inconvenient. It slows down the game. If they ever had to sit with what they've done, it might actually make them hesitate. And hesitation is a crack in their armor. Can't have that. So they've trained themselves to live without a mirror. They rewrite events, so they're always the hero, always the victim, never the villain. You bring up something awful they did, and watch, they'll act confused, roll their eyes, or laugh like you just told a bad joke. It's not that they don't remember, it's that they refuse to. Memory is dangerous when it leads to accountability. And without that mirror, empathy can't exist. If they can't see themselves clearly, they sure as hell can't see you. Thirdly, the predator's logic. When a wolf takes a sheep, he doesn't feel bad. He doesn't send a sympathy card to the flock. He eats, he moves on. That's the narcissist's operating system, predator logic. They don't feel guilt because in their mind, nothing they take is wrongfully taken. If they wanted it, they were entitled to it. If it hurt you, that's not their problem, that's your weakness. This is why apologies from them sound hollow, if you even get one. I'm sorry you feel that way, is just another way of saying I don't care, but I'll throw words at you to shut you up. Predator logic has no room for empathy. You're not a person in their eyes, you're a resource. Something to be mined, used, or consumed. And when you're depleted, They move on to the next. It's why they can look you in the face after destroying something precious to you and shrug like they just spilled water. Because in their mental math, your pain doesn't even make the chart. The danger is, if you keep thinking you can appeal to their better nature, you're standing in front of the wolf with a lecture about vegetarianism. They don't want your perspective. They want your compliance. And once you understand that, you stop negotiating with predators and start protecting yourself like prey that's done being hunted. Fourthly, emotional debt bankruptcy. Think of relationships like a shared bank account. You make deposits, kindness, effort, apologies when you mess up. They make withdrawals, mistakes, bad days, selfish moments. Healthy people keep the balance somewhat fair. A narcissist, they're living in permanent overdraft. They've racked up a lifetime of emotional debt, promises broken, trust shattered, wounds they never even tried to heal. And when it's time to pay up, they file for emotional bankruptcy. They'll walk away from the wreckage without a flicker of shame, pretending they own nothing. Worse, they act like you were the one keeping them from thriving. In their head, your pain is just an unfortunate side effect of their freedom. The problem is, if you're the empathetic type, you'll start trying to cover their balance. You'll over-apologize, overcompensate, try to make up for the gaping hole they've left, and all you're doing is pouring your emotional resources into a black hole. Bankrupt people don't suddenly find the money to pay you back, and bankrupt hearts don't suddenly sprout empathy. Fifth, your pain is their permission slip. For most people, seeing someone they care about in pain is a red light. Stop, comfort, fix. For a narcissist without guilt or empathy, your pain is the exact opposite. It's a green light. It tells them, I've got power here. Every tear, every broken voice, every sleepless night they cause, that's confirmation they can still pull your strings. They're not moved to stop because of your suffering. They're motivated to keep going. If making you hurt gets them what they want, control, attention, compliance, then in their mind, pain is not a problem, it's a strategy. This is why they'll push you to the breaking point, then push again just to see if you'll bend further. Your hurt is proof you're still invested, still reachable, still theirs to manipulate. And the cruel part, they'll sometimes provoke your pain on purpose just to feel that rush. It's not about the issue at hand, it's about watching you react. Once you realize your visible pain feeds their ego, you learn the most important rule in dealing with them. Starve the supply. Stop giving them the emotional fireworks they crave, and you take away half their playbook. Sixth, the gaslight gambit. This is one of their favorite weapons. It's not enough that they hurt you. They want you confused about whether it even happened. They'll burn your house down, then hand you a flashlight and say, relax, there was never a fire. You're imagining the smoke. That's gaslighting, reality demolition. With no guilt, they feel zero obligation to own what they've done. And without empathy, they don't care if denying it makes you feel crazy. In fact, that's the point. The more you doubt your own memory, the easier you are to control. You confront them about a lie, they'll act insulted you'd even ask. Bring up something they clearly said, they'll swear you twisted their words. Show them proof. They'll laugh, change the subject, or attack you for digging through old stuff. Gaslighting works because it erodes the one thing you need to stand up for yourself, certainty. They don't just want to win the argument, they want to own the truth. And if you don't cut it off, you'll wake up one day apologizing for things you didn't do, just to keep the peace that never actually existed. Seventh, the ripple effect of emptiness. Their lack of guilt and empathy isn't self-contained. It spills over into everything, and if you stay close long enough, it starts warping you. It's like standing next to a black hole. At first, you're fine. Then little by little, you feel the pull. Your trust erodes. Your boundaries get fuzzy. You second-guess your instincts. You start thinking, maybe you're the one who's too sensitive. Maybe caring is foolish. Maybe keeping your guard up is the only way to survive. That's the worst effect of all. when their emptiness infects you. Because once you start doubting your own empathy, you lose one of your greatest strengths. You become harder, colder, more cynical. Not because it's who you are, but because you've been trained to think kindness is an open invitation to be hurt. That's the long-term damage nobody talks about. It's not just the fights, the lies, the betrayals. It's what they take from you quietly, drip by drip, until you barely recognize yourself. And escaping them isn't just about getting away from their abuse. It's about rebuilding your own capacity to feel, to care, to trust without flinching. So let's not sugarcoat this. A narcissist without guilt or empathy isn't just difficult. They're dangerous. They've got a heart of stone, a shattered mirror where self-awareness should be, and the cold logic of a predator. They live in emotional bankruptcy, use your pain like a green light, and when you call them out, they'll gaslight you until you're not even sure what's real anymore. And the worst part, their emptiness spreads. It warps your boundaries, poisons your trust, and makes you question the very kindness that used to be your strength. You can't fix this. You can't love someone into growing a conscience. The only winning move is getting out and staying out before the black hole swallows you too. Remember, they don't just want control of your time or your choices. They want control of your reality. And once they have that, they own you. If this hit you in the gut, it's because you know it's true. So do yourself a favor, subscribe to the channel, hit that like button, drop a comment below, and watch the other videos here. The more you know, the harder you are to break.